Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today I'm going to be focusing on why I don't make more Survivor content, because I actually play a lot of Survivor. I've actually been playing more Survivor than I think I have in very, very recent memory. I'm actually probably back to being a 50-50 gamer, which is pretty interesting since I've been grinding those tail attacks and xenomorphs so religiously. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting, but I actually don't make a whole lot of content on the Survivor end of things for the YouTube itself. Usually it's either for both sides or aiming towards killer sides of content that I make. And despite the fact that I do play Survivor so much, I really don't make a whole lot of like commentary videos talking about Survivor this, Survivor that, Survivor perks, Survivor issues. And I kind of wanted to talk about why, because I think it mostly boils down to the fact that Survivor is just not that interesting and also not that skillful. So yeah, let's get into it. So I think that the appeal for a lot of people with Survivor is that it is more boring, right? Like there is, unlike Killer, where it's like, I hear people all the time, I find Killer to be more relaxing than Survivor because nobody else can screw me over, right? Like a teammate can't throw and cost me the whole game. Everything is in my control as Killer. So I find that more comforting. But actually on the opposite of things, most people, the general consensus, I have the dissenting opinion here, the general consensus is that, you know, that's the opposite, that most people find it stressful that all the power is in their hands, that everything is up to them. On the flip side, they like being able to sit on a gen and, you know, hold M1 and hit spacebar and relax for a little bit before they get into a chase, before they have to go get the save, before they have to go heal, and find it to be a very a lot more relaxing experience than as if they were playing Killer. I'm on the opposite end, where I find downtime very I'm trying to find another word that's boring, but I find the downtime in Survivor very, very underwhelming and boring. Like if you're looking for, like, if you're asking like how do I play Survivor, just as like a reference, like what do I like to do? I like to do flashbang builds. I used to be a flashlight save kind of person, but that kind of went by the wayside because flashlight saves, if you didn't know, last year got updated to be easier. So there's a little buffer on both ends of the flashlight save timing that makes it like almost impossible to miss now, which is really obnoxious. So I don't find that as interesting anymore, so I've moved on to flashbangs. Because the thrill of going in for a save, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the mic. The thrill of going in for the save, exciting. I'm not throwing because I have to sit on a gen to charge my flashbang, so I'm contributing to the match. The timing on flashbang is hard, and there's so many weird angles you can hit a flashbang from that make it kind of like skill expression-esque, which is very, very much like what I enjoy about the Killer role. It's playing harder to play killers like Billy, like Hunters, like Xenomorph, who have a lot of skill expression to them, and there's a skill curve to it, and they're exciting. It's hype when you hit a good tail attack. It's hype when you hit a good curve. Like the flashbang side of things kind of like aligns itself more with like what I enjoy about Killer. But other than that, like Survivor's pretty boring. Even chases, I'm starting to like not really be too thrilled with, because either it's just like an extremely oppressive anti-chase killer, so I'm going down anyway, or it's like, you know, it's an Evan who doesn't have his trap set up over there, so the trapper's just I'm just gonna have a long chase more so because it's trapper and not because I'm like really good at the game or anything. You know, or we're on like Garna Joy and I'm just like running the entire back half of the map, or I'm in the main building, so I'm going through that God window and it's not their fault that they're losing. It's just stuff like there was actually a match that I played off stream, unluckily, because I would love to have it as the B-roll up there, where I was playing with a friend off stream. We were playing against a nemesis on Batum, and then there was 3 path pallets between the Corvette loop on the side of the main building, and the 3 path pallets led up into the House of Pain, and there was a fence outside House of Pain that had the long wall vault. So essentially I had the car loop, 3 path pallets into a long wall vault into House of Pain. So like this nemesis was struggling, and I looped him for like 3 or 4 gens, but it wasn't really his fault because that was a very obnoxious setup. That was just stupid. So I didn't feel like I was like beating him or I felt like I did a good job. It was really just the map spawn that did that to him. So really the only thing I enjoy about Survivor is the flashbang side of things. There's just so much about Survivor that I just find particularly boring, like sitting on a gen or having to run cross map to save somebody who went down in like 2 seconds. And it's just like, it's a lot of downtime, and a lot of people appreciate that downtime, but I find downtime so just like, I'm here to play a video game. I'm here to be like excited and invested, right? Like if I wanted to play something comforting, I'd go play like Stardew Valley or something, right? Like I'd go play something like that. I wouldn't be playing Dead by Daylight. And the other aspect of that is like Dead by Daylight Survivor is not very skillful. Like I was saying, I kind of gravitate towards the only skillful thing that I've seemed to have found, which really entertains me, which is flashbangs, because of the hard timing, the weird angles you can hit them from, that sort of thing. I enjoy that. The rest of Survivor is really just like, did I bring sprint burst? Did I bring life? Did I bring paid for this? Did I bring the right perk build to sweat and win? If I didn't, I'm probably losing. It's like there's not a lot of like skill expression with Survivor. Like there is like, you know, looping tiles effectively, not greeting when it's good, not greeting when it's a bad idea, to knowing the counterplay against specific killers, stuff like that. But I feel like the skill ceiling for Survivor is fairly low. The skill ceiling for Survivor is not that in depth. So it's like, it's not like Billy or like Xenomorph, where like I feel like I'm learning new things all the time and I'm constantly improving and I'm growing as a player. Survivor, it feels like besides really minor stuff, I've already done most of the things you can do to quote unquote be good at Survivor, right? Like it's just, Survivor is a fairly low skill ceiling compared to most things you can do in the game. And that's why I feel more attracted to making content about the killer side of the game, because there's actually way more in-depth stuff going on with the killers because of their powers than the Survivor role, which is essentially one character, because they're all just skins of each other. And that one character has a pretty low skill floor and not that high of a skill ceiling. So there doesn't feel like there's as much to talk about and explain compared to the killer side of things. So I just like, I don't know. I've tried to do this thing where I try to think of like, okay, well, let's make a sort of like a more Survivor focused video. And it's just like, just nothing really comes to mind, right? Like, even if I was going to make a video about like flashbangs, it'd just me be ranting about, well, flashbangs are pretty fun. They're pretty good. I love doing them. You know, and that's about it, right? Like, I guess in terms of like, I don't know, Survivor is also the stronger role. I think that's another thing. That's a third thing that I didn't even think of until I was making this video, like right in this moment, is Survivor's the stronger role too. So it feels like there's less to talk about in terms of like a balanced perspective, right? Like when there was the Overbrian eruption meta, oh yeah, like easy peasy. I will talk about that till I'm blue in the face. Yeah, that stuff had to go. That stuff was just, me kick Gen, I win for free. That stuff was stupid. That stuff was dumb. But like, other than that, most of the time Survivors do have the advantage in the meta, and most of this channel is dedicated to just like, you know, thinking about the game. Sometimes it's meta, sometimes it's like the history of a character, sometimes, yeah, but it's like thinking about the game. When we're talking about perks and items, like theirs is always like way more potent than like most killer perks. Yeah, the Overbrian Eruption meta was probably the last time that Killer actually had like a very massive advantage over Survivors when it comes to like the perk meta, but by and large, Survivors almost always have the advantage in the perk meta. So when we're talking about balance, we're talking about it from like an objective standpoint of like, you know, this objectively needs to be the change. Like usually that errs on the side of changing a Survivor perk and not a Killer perk, because Killer perks for the most part are mostly fairly balanced. There's like minor stuff like save, probably needs less stacks than it does. Probably cap it at 6 since Killer's got 2 base kit. But stuff like that, like it's mostly minor stuff. Like like the big glaring issues are like, you know, made for this and stuff like that. Like, oh, hey, that is bottlenecking design. We should probably change that. And thankfully it is being changed. So I don't know. It's harder to make content for Survivor TLDR because the role is so simple that it's not really that intriguing, and the actual gameplay is not that riveting most of the time. And in terms of balance conversations, they usually have the favor, they have the upper hand, so it's not like I'm gonna be, you know, making videos talking about, you know, a Killer perk needing to be nerfed, because usually the Survivor perks are worse. So it's just that, I feel like that's also why you see most DBD content creators that are like Survivor mains, they're mostly just making like gameplay videos. There's not really like think tank like content creators for like the Survivor end of things, because, well, they mostly get their way, right? They mostly have what they need. So outside of, you know, instances like the Overbright Eruption meta, then what do you even talk about, you know? So, I don't know. That's why I personally don't make Survivor content that much. I think it's more... It's not really like a favored thing where I'm like, oh, I want to make Killer content more often. It's just like, whenever I go to the drawing board for Survivor content, I'm like, this feels like a nothing burger. It feels like there's not much I can really do here in terms of what I like to do, right? In terms of what the kind of content I like to make, there's just like nothing there for me. So yeah, that's why I make less Survivor content, and probably why there's like Survivor content, like I was mentioning, is more like gameplay and stuff usually when you say it, or compilations, and not so much like thinking about the game and stuff like that, because, well, they have the advantage. So yeah, what do you guys think? Why do you guys think that more people don't make more in-depth Survivor content? Let me know down in the comments down below. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, friends. But I do upload daily, so I will see you tomorrow. And if I do not, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.